Hello there.
I'm Pickle Rick!
Let's do it, guys!
Right.
It's morphin' time!
Avengers! Assemble.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Geek Culture Talk, and today we are reviewing the latest Marvel movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So this film came out about now 2 weeks ago now? Yeah, it's been 2 weeks now. This is the latest Marvel movie now. We previously had Black Widow, which if you want to see my review for that film, I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to go check it out. But yeah, Shang-Chi, Legend of Ten Rings. This is a big film because, of course, it's a big deal because we're introducing a new character to the MCU, but also it's the first ever Asian-led superhero movie, so that's pretty awesome as well. So my initial thoughts straight away on the film, I really love this film. I thought it was just enjoyable and great. I thought it was just pretty great. I really liked it. It was awesome. So, but yeah, to get into the rest of the review, I'm not where to start with this film. I don't know. Like, of course, I'm not sure. Like, one thing I'll say, I guess, right off the bat about the movie is that it's Marvel's most personal movie. Like, definitely. Like, the film it's a very the story is very focused on, of course, our main character and his history of his family and such, and his whole dynamic and such. It makes for a really personal story, and it really works well. Like, this film. Like, the way the story is structured feels different from other Marvel films, because throughout the film there's a lot of flashbacks in between parts of the movie where you see him as a kid being raised by his father, and also him and his sister, and him and his training, and with their mother and such. Like, all these flashbacks, all this stuff. I should say that I'm not going to go into spoilers straight away for this review. I'm going to talk about, just general about the movie first, just kind of so you guys can know my general thoughts before I start talking heavy spoilers about it. I will go into spoilers later on in the review, though, so stay tuned for that. But yeah. But like I said, it's their most personal story, and I think it really paid off. But yeah, the plot's it's about, of course, Shang-Chi's been living in America for the last 10 years now, but now his past is catching up to him. His father, Wen Wu, who we find out is the real Mandarin in the MCU, not like the one we previously saw in Iron Man 3, that was the fake one, that was Trevor Slattery and also Aldrich Killian. So that's cool. And of course he's bringing him and his sister back into the fold for nefarious purposes and such. For nefarious purposes with his evil organization called the Ten Rings and such, for bad stuff. I'm trying to think of a way to describe the plots without skimming away spoilers. Wait, why not just read the official synopsis of the movie? That makes more sense to do. Alright, the official synopsis I'm reading off Letterboxd says, Shang-Chi must confront the past he thought he left behind when he's drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings organization. So, okay, basically what I said. Is there any other, simplified version of the plot without giving spoilers? Let me try on IMDb. Hopefully. Who knows? Shang-Chi, the master of unarmed weaponry-based kung fu, is forced to confront his past after being drawn into the Ten Rings organization. Okay, so basically that's it. That's the simplified version. I'll go into spoilers, but that's what it is. And like I said, it's very personal. This story of the film with everything, it really works. Like I said, all those flashbacks, it made it feel like such a different Marvel film in a way. And not just from that, there's a bunch of other things also that make it really great. Like I said, the story's great, but also it's a kung fu martial arts style movie, so a lot more hand-to-hand combat. And the fight choreography and just fights in general look great in the movie. Off the bat, you have that one great scene on the bus, which was one of the first fight scene in the movie, one of the first fight scenes in the movie, and it's quite great. It's one whole moving shot where they're going under a bridge, and you just see the outside shot of the bus where you just follow Shang-Chi just fighting out the people inside the bus, which look pretty great. And that fight scene overall in the bus was like cause I mean it's hard to like do a fight in a bus because it's such a confined space. Like it's kind of hard to do. And other fights also in the film on like a scaffolding of a building, like it's on the outside of a big building, like it's like the scaffolding up, and they're fighting on that. Again, that's a very hard place to fight because you have to be very careful about where you're standing and running and doing all that stuff because you could fall and die. But all the fight scenes are fantastic. The hand-to-hand combat is great. What the hell was that? I think I just heard the lights. Yeah, I think it was that probably. The light. Heard like my light just kind of like make a flicker sound or something like that. I don't know. The fights in this film are great. They're pretty great. A lot of great one shot. Like I just said, the bus shot was pretty great. Our main actor is Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi. You know, he's very great at the martial arts. He did a great job in the film. In stark contrast, I guess, to Finn Jones from Iron Fist, who he's also supposed to be playing a character who's a master of the martial arts, trained for years. But he wasn't great at that. That's not his fault though. I'm not dissing the actor. It's more so just Netflix hired him, didn't give him enough time to properly train before doing Iron Fist and Defenders. But this guy got definitely a lot of training done, and he's very good at it. He's very impressive. And like, all the fights are really well done in the movie. Speaking of the actors, also like Simu Liu and the rest of the cast, everyone in the movie is quite great. Like Simu himself. He's quite charming, quite fun, and quite just action packed as the main character Shang-Chi. I really dug his performance. Hence, blanked out there. I don't know. So yeah, he's quite great. Then also Aquafina, who plays his best friend Kitty and such. At first she was mostly just kind of a very jokester kind of character, a lot of joke, but like as the film goes on, there's a lot more given to her character. I'm like, all right, she's pretty good. I think she did a great job. There's a lot of great performances in the movie. Like the standout best one was definitely Tony Leung. I hope I pronounced that last name right. I'm very sorry if I get any names wrong. He of course plays Wenwu, Shang-Chi's father, the Mandarin. Of course, from what my brother's friend told me who we saw the film of, he said that in Hong Kong, Tony Leung is considered like a top tier actor, like one of the best actors like over there. Like he's like one of the greatest. So like having him in the film was like a big deal and such. So that's cool. And he gives a great performance. Like definitely Wenwu, like his character, he's definitely 100% like one of the best Marvel villains out of all of them. Like he's up there with like, you know, Thanos and Vulture and Killmonger, all those guys. Like he's definitely one of the best. Like I really dug his performance. It was really well handled. And the character was like a bad guy, but it was also like there was a lot like you understood and got about him. He was just the writing was very well done with that character. It's great that we finally got to see the character of the Mandarin and such. But he does a great job in the movie. It's fantastic. I'm trying to think what else to say that can't give away spoilers for. Oh yeah, another thing I say also, like visuals and set design in this movie is also like great. Like it's all fantastic. Like it's like all the visuals and such in the movie. Like they're all the visuals and set designs. They all look great. Like a lot of there's a couple of creatures you see in the movie that look great. Like some visuals from some of the locations you go to later on in the movie look beautiful, and the set design looks also great. Like the detailing in all of them looks amazing. It's incredible. So yeah, it's definitely that's also one of their best parts of the movie. Just the way everything looks and shot. It looks very nice. I love a lot of visuals and such. Man, it's actually hard to think of stuff to say without going to really heavy spoilers for the movie. That's why I usually don't do these a lot, but I do want to try and do them a bit more so I can give people a chance to hear my thoughts about having to avoid the spoiler section of it. But man, what else can I say? That's like not. There's also good humor in the movie too. Like I'm good with the humor basically all the time. Mostly in Marvel movies, they're usually pretty good. I will say though there are parts where the humor didn't. Like most of it's pretty good, but there are times like where the humor was like I found some jokes they threw in were like not well placed or timed. Like specifically one scene where like Shang-Chi's talking to Katie and telling him about this part of his past, his history, and like it's a very serious moment that out of nowhere because they're on a plane flying, and like this one like stewardess comes up to them, asks which peanuts or whatever she asked them for, like you want peanuts or a drink or something, and like she said something, and like it was basically a joke thing where it's like he's talking very serious, like, you know, I'm a father, then she comes in like, would you care for a side of something? Like, it was kind of like, that didn't feel right, like it was kind of like ruined the flow of that scene a bit. Not ruined it, but it was kind of like weirdly placed. And there was like probably some other jokes also in the movie that I was like, like that as well. But most of them worked very well. There was a lot of great jokes in the movie that they're all pretty great. I dug a lot of them. So just only a few were like, nah, not so great. Man, like what else can I say that's not too heavy in the spoilers? I don't know. It's kind of hard to think about. But yeah. I guess maybe I'll just end it here. My general thoughts, so I can get the spoilers and just get this going more so I can get more into detail about the movie. But yeah, so my thoughts here before we go into spoilers. So overall thoughts, really enjoyed the movie. I thought actually there is one other thing I will say general thoughts about before I go into the spoiler section. I almost forgot this part. One thing I was going to talk about it, I just want to talk about it here as well. So, Shang-Chi's sister in the film, Xiling, I'm pretty confident I pronounced that right, and such. She's brought into the movie and such, and, we get some stuff about her and her past with Shang-Chi. I feel like she was, a little bit underdeveloped. Not, I wouldn't say underdeveloped, but, there's parts of her character in the movie, and I'm like, you could have done maybe a bit more, I feel like, with the character. It's kind of like, I don't know, a bit more could have been done with her a little bit. I feel like after her first scene she had in the movie with Shang-Chi, which was pretty good, but as the rest of them kind of kept going, was like, it feels like she's kind of just more so just kind of tagging along, or not really getting much with her, I feel, as a character, so there's that, but there's that thing. But yeah, that's really my only other major complaint with this movie, so yeah. But with all that being said now, the movie, like I said, I really enjoyed this film. The action's great, stories, their most personal story, it's great, I love it. The characters, the actors are all great, the visuals look amazing. I really enjoyed this film. Overall, I gave it a 8 out of 10. I really liked it. It's definitely one of Marvel's better films. So, yeah. Now it's time to get into the spoiler section of the movie. So if you don't want to see spoilers, so click away now. So, spoiler section begins now. So, yeah, the beginning of the spoiler section now, the first thing I want to say is that in the film, of course, they do address what happened in Iron Man 3 with the fake manager back then, and Wenwu reveals how he's never actually been called, he's never called himself the Mandarin. He actually talks about how, when they did it, he's talking about how over the years he's gone by many names throughout the years he's been alive. The rings have kept him alive for thousands of years. And he says he's gone by many names, never by the Mandarin. That's actually a name that Alder Killian made up to use for the character, because he just kind of heard about the character of the Mandarin years ago, and he decided just to call him the Mandarin, whatnot. So he heard about this figure of who leads the Ten Rings, and he kind of called him the Mandarin to help strike fear into the public's eyes. And he said, and it worked, because the people were scared of a chicken dish, what he said. So he mocks how he called him that, and he was never actually called that. Which it's also good commentary also on talk about how the Mandarin, because for years Marvel's tried to kind of tackle the Mandarin, wanted to use him before in the past, but Mandarin throughout the years, he's been around since the 60s, but as years went by, his history became a bit more problematic, and the character itself is very problematic and hard to translate to the screen, but they finally found a good way to translate him with this version of the character, and so they're kind of just making fun and mocking the name, and talking about how, that he tried mocking me by calling me the Mandarin. I thought that was good. That was a nice little touch there. But yes, and the coolest, what the heck did I just say there? The character himself, Wenwu, like I said, I really dug his character, how just you understood him and his whole history, because the whole plot of the film revolves around him with his wife, because of course, years ago, like I said, the rings allow him to live, he said he's been alive for thousands of years. We saw the opening of the film was God knows how long ago. We don't have an exact date of how long he's been alive, just we know it's been thousands of years. But in the Ten Rings, they of course keep him alive. They've stopped him from aging. But around 1996, he came to this one village where he sought the power of a dragon called the Great Protector, and saw its power, something like that. I don't quite exactly remember why he went there all those years ago, something like that. But when he went there, he found a girl named Lee, who he ended up falling in love with. They had a nice little battle, which was a pretty nice visual, pretty cool battle. It was like a tango dance almost. And he fell in love with her, and she also fell in love with him as well. And it's really great with the character, because when he fell in love with her and when they fell in love and such, he actually stopped being bad. He actually realized that, like for years, like I've never had anything to like really like care about truly, but she's the first person ever, and like he actually stopped using the rings, and then he saw her as a person he can grow old with together and such, which is like very nice. And of course they have their kids, and like and he becomes like a good father, like he like is with his kids all the time. Well, he becomes like a better person, like it's like his life becomes great. But then of course, unfortunately, his past catches up to him, where a group called the Iron Gang, which is ironic because like his arch enemy in the comics is Iron Man. They come to his home and expect to find him because for payback for what he did to them a few years ago or some time ago. He's not there. Only Lee and Shang-Chi and Xialing were there. So she sends the kids to go hide while she tackles them, like fends them off. She unfortunately does not make it. She dies, which like makes Wenwu like sad in the press. So then he finally puts the rings back on and takes Shang-Chi with him to go go to one of the locations where the Iron Gang is staying out. He attacks them and their leader wasn't there, but he kills everyone there and such. And so yeah, after that he starts training his son Shang-Chi to become like the ultimate warrior, become the best fighter possible and such. And like his criminal organization just started up again after that point once he put the rings back on and such. And around that point also when he started the Ten Rings organization started being bad again and wearing the rings about only a few years before Iron Man started, before they kidnapped Iron Man and such. So only a few years before that. So yeah, and the whole plot of the film of him is that involves how he keeps hearing the voice of his wife in his head saying that she's alive, and that she's actually being held at her village that they met at, and that she's behind this big door, this big gate in the mountainside, and he thinks it's his wife, but it's not. It's actually just like this other dragon manipulating him, putting his voice in his head because the dragon knows he's connected to the rings, so he's using that to manipulate him because he knows the rings can break him free. So he's manipulating him, making him think that his wife is behind there. So he thinks that if he goes there, he'll free her, but that's not what will happen and such. Because this dragon, and a bunch of these creatures we learn try breaking through. They're from their realm, and they were locked away thousands of years ago. They were defeated, and they're creatures that the dragon has these little other creatures that go out and very Mortal Kombat Shang Tsung where they will grab you and eat your soul and drag it out, and they'll not eat your soul, they'll suck your soul out, then give it to the dragon, and the dragon will eat your soul and get more powerful. And that's basically the whole thing with that. And of course he's manipulating Wenwu to doing so. But I think it really works, that whole story, because I think it shows that he's not he wasn't a bad guy, but she was someone that actually made him realize he doesn't have to keep doing this. He can just have a great normal life like this with a family he loves. But of course then she dies, and then seeing him as his whole purpose is to try and save her and such, but of course comes in ultimately not the right way because he's being manipulated. But it really works. It really feel that character, he just really wants to have his wife back. It's not like you really do feel that there was a connection in the love he had for this person. It really makes him a great complex, more dimensional character. Just really, like I said, it's one of the best Marvel villains from the films. He's terrific. And of course in the end he does unfortunately unleash the dragon and such, but in the end once that happens, when he realizes what he's actually done and what's actually been happening, and once Shang-Chi after he realizes in his head, oh, Shang-Chi was telling me the truth, it's not her at all. And he does in the end actually sacrifice himself to save his son so he can defeat the dragon and such, which was pretty nice. And I was kind of sad about it. I'm I kind of want to see more of Wenwu. He was a great character. But I like to hear that they, it worked here, killing off the character, because it worked in service of the story. It kind of came full circle where he started off bad, but then he found someone that could make him good and wants to be good himself. But then, of course, he lost her, so he went back to his old ways. But now he realized that his family is the most important thing to him, so he sacrificed himself to save his son. So it came full circle like that. So I thought it worked very well in the story. It was quite well done. But also, speaking of going back to the whole fake Mandarin thing from the first movie, not the first movie, Iron Man 3. Of course, Ben Kingsley comes back as Trevor Slattery for the movie, which they did. It was confirmed before the movie because he showed up at the premiere for Shang-Chi, and then Marvel later confirmed that yeah, he's in the movie. So that basically spoiled the movie there. I'm I kind of wish I didn't hear about that. But you know, what can you do? I mean, there were rumors that he was going to show up in the movie a year prior, but it was cool to see him again. Of course, it ties back in. I mean, no, not ties back. It pays off the ending to the Marvel one-shot they made like back in 2014 called All Hail the King, which was the, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Disney Plus. Hopefully you've seen it, because they released it, they put it on Disney Plus finally in like about a couple weeks before, or a few weeks before the movie came out, so, you know, to promptly set up Trevor's return. You know, and like, it was made back in the day as a response to like how people were mad about how, not the real Mandarin. That one shot reveals that there actually is an actual Mandarin out there, of course, which was Wenwu, and he kidnapped Trevor because he was not happy about his betrayal in the move he did back in Iron Man 3. And we learned that, of course, Trevor's not dead. In fact, actually, he put on this, when he was about to kill him, he actually then turned on his acting abilities and, like, put on this, I think it was like he was reenacting a scene from Hamlet, or I think that's what it was, and, like, he put on this big scene, like, this big monologue scene, and, like, and Wenwu and the other Ten Rings people, they all really enjoyed it, so they kept him alive for the last, like decade plus now at this point, and, like, he's just been putting on this, like, show for them for years now, just to keep him alive. So I thought that was interesting, and he's really great. Like, a lot of the best jokes and comedy scenes in the movie come from him. He's quite entertaining and enjoyable. Like, I had never had a problem with Trevor from Iron Man 3. I remember when I did see Iron Man 3 back in the theaters, I was like, oh, okay, so I guess there's no actual Mandarin, which of course there was. But I was kind of shocked. But afterwards, like, in the theater, I was like, I liked him. Honestly, when I saw him, I'm like, this guy's funny though. I don't hate this. And honestly, I never did. I never got mad at it. I thought, you know, the twist, it worked for the movie, with the story they were going. I thought it worked well, but of course now we have the actual, like, Mandarin, or Wenwu. We have him, and, like, it makes that reveal in Iron Man 3 much better, because now we know there was the actual guy out there and such, and it worked. And again, Trevor, he's very funny. I like him a lot. Ben Kingsley is very great in the movie. And, of course, he has a little animal sidekick named Morse, who's voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who, ironically, I did the Suicide Squad review, and he was in that movie, too. He voiced, like, the rat catcher's pet rabbit, Sebastian, which is funny, because, of course, D. Bradley Baker, he's a very well-known voice actor. He does a lot of animal sound. He's very well known for doing animal sounds and a lot of things. Like, he's done stuff like Appa and Avatar: Last Airbender, Parrot the Platypus, and Phineas and Ferb. A bunch of other things he's done voices for. He's done other, like, he's done actual voice work also, like the clones in Clone Wars, Daffy Duck and Space Jam. Like, he's done a bunch of voice work. The fish, who he was? I can't remember American Dad. I think he plays the fish. Whatever. But I just kind of thought it was funny. I'm like, man, D. Bradley Baker's everywhere right now. He's in Suicide Squad and he's in Shang-Chi. Like, way to go, man. But yeah, Morse there. He voices it's like a faceless, like, four-legged creature with, like, wings, fur and such. And, like, it is based off an actual creature in actual, like, lore and such. So, like, I don't remember exactly. But yeah, he is based off an actual mythic creature thing from lore. So yeah, that was cool. What's another thing to talk about? Also in spoilers. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I guess one thing also, which I'm glad they didn't do, is that they kind of hint at towards a relationship between Shang-Chi and Kitty, which, like, when they start doing the movie, like, immediately there's a scene early on in the film when, you know, Katie's grandmother says, Shang-Chi, so when are you two getting married? And such. And, you know, in the movie I'm like, so yeah, are they gonna probably make them be, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, like, put them in a relationship? And there's like one hint in the movie, or a few hints in the film, like when Shang-Chi does that cage match at Shai Ling's place. You know, they force him to take off his shirt, and Katie looks at him from, like, the viewing point about the shirt, and she kind of, like, has that face like, oh, wow. Like, and there's also another point, I guess, later on, after the big battle at her mom's, like home village and such. Like, they have a quick point where they, like, kind of just rest their heads against each other. So, like, I mean, there's kind of hints, but they don't actually get into a relationship at all in the movie, which I like, because I didn't see any kind of relationship with them. I mean, I've seen Lulu and a couple of other people involved in the film. I've said kind of, there's a possibility for a relationship. I kind of hope not so, because I don't really see, I see more so the friend thing, not really the relationship thing, so, that's me. What's another thing I could say? I'm not really sure what else. What's another thing to talk about? I'm blanking out, but dang it. Man. There's also another thing in the movie about Shang-Chi's past, which I really liked, actually, was, so, a part of his training with his father, what he did with him is that, you know, by the age of 14, his training was basically complete, so he sent him off for his very first solo mission, or probably the first mission ever, where they had finally tracked down the leader of the Iron Gang who killed his mom, of course. He sent him off, and he was supposed to go kill him and then return back to, of course, their home and such, their base. Of course, he never returned. He just like left and stayed in America for about 10 years and such before Wenwu found him. And, you know, I thought it was kind of like, because he said in the film when he first explained to Katie that, you know, I was sent to do it, but then I didn't kill him. I just went off and disobeyed orders and went to America for 10 years and such. And then he met Katie soon afterwards, which I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not surprised. But then, somewhat during the movie, I started getting this weird feeling that maybe that's not true. And like later in the movie, when they're at the village, like he actually explains to Katie that he actually was lying. He did actually kill the leader of the Iron Gang, and so of course he did still like leave, didn't return, but he did kill the person and such. And I actually really liked that. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give points to that. That's actually, I'm glad you didn't have it be like where he didn't kill him, because like having that he does actually kill him actually I think adds some great layers to his character, showing that he's not perfect, because he did want revenge and for his mom dying, and he did get it. He killed the person, but still, I thought that did add to his character pretty greatly. I really enjoyed that. That was quite good. What's another thing? I don't know. We also learned like the village that their mom is from, like it actually empowers people. The Great Protector, such, it empowers anyone there, giving them special abilities and such. Not like anything too fancy. They have these like kind of like wind abilities they can do and such. So that was all pretty cool. So that was all pretty neat. We also meet Shang-Chi's aunt in that village, who, I don't remember her name, I'll look it up quickly. Ying Nan was her aunt's name. She was a pretty cool character too. Michelle Yao, who played her, she was previously in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. She was one of the Ravagers on Sylvester Stallone's Guardians team at the end of that movie. Of course, they brought her back here. Like, no one can really complain about them recasting her for this role, because this is a much like bigger role and such. So, I mean, it'd be kind of funny actually if they did still keep her for that role in that movie, where they kind of say, ironically, this alien looks like this character Ying Nan from this movie. So that'd be kind of funny. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if James Gunn has plans for that other Guardians team for Guardians 3 or a future project. I have no clue, but yeah, I'm glad they did give her a different role for this film, a much bigger, sizable role than, of course, the one that was in Guardians. She does a pretty good job in the film. She had a great connection immediately, meeting Shang-Chi and Xiling for the first time. She was pretty good. I liked all the characters in the movie. There's a couple other like side henchmen who worked for Wenwu are pretty cool, like Razor Fist, who's like, it's a very silly name and such. And he was cool. And there's also the Death Dealer, who's like this very top lieutenant in the Ten Rings organization that helped train Shang-Chi, who he died quickly. He was not quickly, but he does get his soul taken out when he dies. So yeah, but he had a really cool design though. He was pretty badass. I liked him. His fight scene with Shang-Chi was quite cool. Now, one other thing I want to get to, I say this for last in spoilers, was also the wider scope of the Marvel Universe in this film. Which I have to say, this film, I think, more so than any other Marvel movie, this film, it really makes the universe really feel lived in. Like, this film, out of every other projects, every other film and show so far, I really felt the Marvel Universe was just lived in by this point in this film, because there's a lot of, like, references and connections and cameos to like the wider scope of the MCU, which was pretty cool. Like of course the big one everyone knows about, of course, from the trailers and such. Of course, Wong and Abomination appear in the film, and they have a cage fight. Abomination, of course, we haven't seen since the Incredible Hulk back in 2008, which that was like 13 years ago. So this is his first appearance since then, and he's not in the film that long, which is not a big deal. But him and Wong have a cool little cage match. We don't really know what the actual why they're in a cage fight. It's for maybe a side hustle or something, I don't know. We don't have the exact details, but it was cool. And Abomination does his design evolve. Like the director of the film, he explained that we decided he needed to upgrade his design and such, and it looks much better. It looks more like the comic book version of Abomination. You can basically kind of just say that his mutation probably just like evolved more over the years and such. And they also have Tim Roth, who did the sound. He actually did all the growls and like grunts noises for Abomination in the film, which is pretty cool. He is coming back to play Abomination for the She-Hulk series. So that's cool. And we have Wong, like I said, he's in the movie too. He's in it a little bit more, not too much more than Abomination, but still did a bit more. Again, like, I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like their whole scene here is going to tie into something with She-Hulk, cause we see them. He takes Abomination. The Abomination follows Wong like through a portal somewhere, like some a facility. We have no idea what it is. Presumably, it's going to definitely tie into She-Hulk. I assume it must. Like, 'cause we know Tim Roth is, like I said, coming back for She-Hulk and also gonna be in human form, because like he's not gonna just do the voice. But I remember seeing a photo online of the actor who plays She-Hulk at a dinner with Tim Roth, so he's definitely gonna be in human form. So I wonder if maybe like Wong has something to do with helping him get back to human form. I'm not really sure, but that does tie a bit to the after credits scene, the first one in the movie, which features because Wong gathers Shang-Chi and Kitty, brings them to the Carmitage Court. Did I say it right? I don't know. And or it's either Carmitage or the Sanctum. Who knows? But he takes them and brings them through a portal, because when Shang-Chi used the 10 rings, it sent out this beacon from them. They sent them out to the stars almost. And when they're at this meeting with them, they're with Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel. They were there in that like little hologram projection thing that was in Endgame. So they were there, and that was pretty cool. And Bruce Banner, he's in human form now. He still has his arm in a sling from the events of Endgame, but he's in human form, which was interesting because we thought he was permanently the Hulk now, but I guess not. And Captain Marvel's also there, and in the one scene, she's only there for a few seconds, but she's so much better here than in her prior appearances. Like, she was much more, more energized, a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Charismatic. She had more charm. Like, she was much better in that one scene than she was in Captain Marvel and Endgame. Which she wasn't in Endgame that much, but still, she was much better in this one scene here. So it makes me excited to see what they do for her in Captain Marvel 2 then, or the Marvels is what it's called. So that's exciting. But yeah, it's interesting. So they're discussing them about these rings. She doesn't recognize them from any alien thing previously. Bruce Banner says they're not like vibranium or anything like that. So it's definitely all set up for She-Hulk and even the Marvels apparently. So it's all very interesting. So it's possibly that they're sending a signal to aliens, possibly like maybe the alien race that created the 10 rings. Who knows? But that's that. But that's not the only thing. There's also another thing. So in the movie, there was a part in that big cage fight area. Besides the big main fight, there's a bunch of other smaller fights we saw on the side. One fight we saw featured these two people. One of them was actually an extremist soldier from Iron Man 3, so I was kind of like, oh, I guess they're still around. That's interesting. But that was cool. And then he was fighting this one girl. She had no special powers. She was just had a couple weapons on her. She's a skilled fighter and such. But I saw a Easter egg video from New Rockstars. They were breaking down all the Easter eggs and references in the movie, and they said that actress in that scene was actually an actress who was in Black Widow. She was actually one of the additional Black Widows that we saw in that movie that Natasha freed from the mind control. So I thought, that's cool. I wonder if that's meant to be the same person. And it was actually in the credits. She's listed as Widow, and even in the scene, he shows that scene from the film, and if you zoom in on her belt buckle, she does have the Black Widow logo on it. So I thought that's such a great little detail. It's such a small detail. It's such great detail and world building, showing that the Black Widows are still out there doing stuff. Of course, they're free now, like this one was, but they're out there. That's such a great little detail, and I love that. It's such a minor thing, but it's great for just world building and showing. That's what I mean. How greatly lived in this world feels. It's so great. I love that. I love that little thing. Most people won't know that. I didn't know that scene in the film, but that's such a great detail. I love that. That's amazing. But yeah, that's what I mean. And there was other fighters we didn't really see there. There was one guy who had a nail face or something, some kind of metal silver face, something. I'm not sure. I heard months ago, over a year ago, a rumor that they were going to use a bunch of D and C-list mutant characters from the comics for this movie to help slowly build up to the main mutants, the X-Men. So I'm not sure if there was. No one's confirmed that or not, so it's possibly not true. But that could be cool if that is the case. But I doubt there was. But yeah, I love all those connections and references to the larger MCU. It's pretty great. So it's just like I said, it just feels like such a lived-in universe now. It's awesome. But yeah, what else? What's another thing also that I can mention? What's another thing? Of course, also they mentioned the snap. Also, they don't really address if Shang-Chi, Kitty, or Wenwu, any of them got snapped away during the snap. It's at least somewhere. It's like it's 2024 at least by this point now in the MCU timeline. So I'm not really sure. Like it's presumably I've heard some people say it's possibly after Far From Home and presumably No Way Home also, because that one takes place not long after Far From Home. So I don't know, but possibly. But yeah, I think I've covered everything I possibly can think of. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings. Like I said, like I really enjoyed this film. It's really great. I'm not sure if I would say it's in my maybe top 10 MCU films. I'm not sure because I have to rewatch it again. I'm only seeing it once now. But you know, it might be up there possibly because it was just really good. I love the story, action, the characters, like visuals, set design, the wider like connections to the MCU. Like so, there's so many things to actually like in the film. I almost forgot to mention the second half of the credits scene. Damn it! Oh my god. The second one is also basically showing that after Wenwu dies, Shai Ling was going back to the Ten Rings to disband it and such. But she doesn't do that. She actually just. But she doesn't do that. She actually just. She takes control of it. She becomes the new leader. Like Razor Fist works for her now, and also is our guy named John John. Was that his name, or was it Don Don? I forget. Oh my god. Yeah, it was John John. Yeah, he was the guy who helped run the like the cage match era with Shai Ling. They work for her now, and like she's actually had a bunch of like more females into the Ten Rings organization, a bunch of new female fighters and such. So she's running now. I have no idea if for good reasons or bad reasons, possibly bad reasons, I assume. Because she was a little bit mad about Shang-Chi for abandoning her as a kid. They did forgive each other. Like they forgave each other at the end when she was almost gonna die during the final battle. Like, and she told him just let me go to stop the dragon because you can't like say stopping the Sin, but he's like not gonna leave you again. So like I'm sure they're fine. So I doubt that's what it is. But maybe she becomes a villain again. I have no idea. So we'll have to wait for the sequel. I hope for the sequel that does more for them, because like I said, I feel like she was not used as best as they could, so that's just how I thought though. But yeah, that was both after credits scenes in the movie, so that's all interesting. I have no idea also if Shang-Chi is going to wield the Ten Rings now. I feel like he might not. He probably will sequel to a bit, but I hope he just still uses more of his natural fighting abilities, because, that's what he was. He was a natural fighter, just very great at it, so, he probably will, but I hope he just does more natural fighting still, just like, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this film. Like, it's possibly one of my top 10 films. I'm not sure I have to watch it again. But yeah, like, action, story, characters, performances, visuals, the wider connections to the MCU. I love all of that. Of course, my minor problems were like, some of the comedy was not so great, but most was pretty good. I wish they gave a bit more to Shai Ling as a character, but yeah. I also did like the big dragon fight at the end. That was visually pretty cool, I thought. So yeah, I think went through everything I possibly could now. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. Like I said, 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. If you have not seen it yet, well, if you have not seen it yet, you probably shouldn't be. Well, you should not have watched the whole way through then. But yeah, it's a great film. I can't wait to watch it again. It's just really great. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. That was my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings. The next thing on Marvel's list we should get is we're still going through the What If show right now. We have episode, I think it's 6 coming out today actually. When this video is going up, you're seeing episode 6 of What If. There's gonna be 9 episodes, so we should be going at least until October. I feel like with those next few episodes, probably. Then after that, we'll have the Eternals in November. And they'll have also Hawkeye in November too. We just got the trailer, like literally just yesterday. Well, not yesterday for you guys, yesterday for me, but like 2 days ago when this video comes out. And that show looks pretty good. I can't wait to see that. And then we have No Way Home also in December, so that's pretty exciting. And also aside from all the MCU related stuff, we have Venom 2 next month, so that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see how that one turns out. Yeah, I will do reviews for all that stuff as well coming up. What If, of course, I'm not doing weekly reviews for that, but I will do a full roundup review of the show once it's done. So, yeah. But, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Tell me in the comment section down below, what did you all think of Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings? What would you rate it? I gave it an 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. It's great. So, yeah. can't wait to see a sequel and more from these characters like Shang-Chi. Can't wait to see him in a future Avengers film. So yeah, can't wait for all that. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll stay tuned for the next episode of Geek Culture Talk some point. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.